You ever get that feeling that something's off? Not enough to make you scream or run, just enough to make the hairs on your neck stand up. That uneasy silence when you realize you're not as alone as you thought. These aren't stories pulled from imagination. These are true accounts, experiences from real people who stumbled into something they'll never forget. 3 moments of pure, inescapable horror. You ever sit alone in the dark and for some reason everything around you just feels heavier? The air doesn't move, the clock doesn't tick. It's like the world stops breathing for a second, and in that quiet, your mind starts to notice things, little things, the creak of your chair, the hum of electricity, the faint echo of something that doesn't quite belong. You tell yourself it's nothing. Lights on. You walk quieter. You notice the shadows don't always move the way they should. That old photo frame on the shelf, it's always tilted just slightly after you wake up. The hallway light flickers, but only when you're standing beneath it. The sound of the refrigerator hum changes pitch when you walk by, like it's listening. It's small things. Harmless, right? That's what you tell yourself. You even joke about it, my house is haunted. But deep down, something's tightening. It's in the pit of your stomach, that quiet pressure you can't explain. You catch yourself checking the locks twice, sometimes 3 times. You start leaving the TV on when you sleep, because the silence feels wrong now. Then one night you wake up for no reason. You don't hear anything, not at first. It's the absence of sound that wakes you, the kind that feels too clean, too intentional. And then, from somewhere far down the hall, you hear it, a soft shuffle. Not loud enough to be footsteps, not random enough to be the house, just slow movement, pacing, like someone deciding what to do next. You stare at the ceiling, afraid to even blink. The sound stops. You listen so hard that your ears start to ring. And when you think it's over, you hear the faint click of the bathroom door down the hall, the one you always leave open, quietly closing. You don't move, you don't breathe, you just lie there counting the seconds, waiting for something, anything, to tell you you're not crazy. But the only thing that answers is that slow, rhythmic creak of the hallway floor. Closer now, the air feels thicker with every step. You know someone's there, you can feel it in your bones, but you can't make yourself turn your head. Your instincts are screaming to stay still, pretend to sleep. Don't let it know you're awake. And then, it stops. The sound, the feeling, everything. Silence again. So perfect it hurts. You wait, minutes pass, maybe hours. You finally build the courage to turn your head slowly, just enough to see the hallway. Empty, you exhale, your whole body shaking. You laugh a little, tell yourself it's fine, just your imagination again. But the next morning, when you walk past the bathroom door, you notice it's locked from the inside. I'm not really sure how to explain what happened. It's one of those things that sounds simple when you say it out loud, but when you live through it, it doesn't feel simple at all. It feels wrong in a way you can't put words to. Like something reached into the quiet parts of your life and twisted them just enough that they'll never fit back the same way again. It started last winter. I was living alone for the first time in years, this small apartment at the edge of town. Nothing special, just a narrow hallway, a kitchen with flickering lights, a bedroom that never felt warm no matter how high I turned the heat up. I liked it though. It was quiet, private, and after everything I'd been through, that felt like enough. The first few nights were normal. I got into a routine: work, dinner, a show, bed. But one night, around 2 in the morning, I woke up to what sounded like the front door unlocking. You know that sound a deadbolt makes? That slow, heavy turn? It was that, clear as day. I froze. I didn't get up, didn't make a sound. I just stared at my bedroom door, waiting. A minute passed, then 2, nothing. I told myself I was half asleep, maybe dreaming, but I couldn't shake it. So I got up, checked the living room, everything was fine. Door still locked, windows shut, nothing out of place. But the next night, it happened again. The same sound, the slow click, the turn, the soft push of the door, and again, nothing there. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe it was the neighbors, maybe it was the pipes. But the sound came from inside my own door. And no matter how much I tried to rationalize it, I knew what I heard. A few nights later, I decided to record it. I set up my phone facing the door and left it running. That night I heard it again, the exact same sound, 1:57 a.m. I didn't get up this time, I just listened. I wanted proof. When I woke up, I checked the video. For the first hour, nothing. Then, right before 2, I saw the handle move, just slightly, like someone testing it. Then it stopped. I watched it over and over. There was no wind, no vibration, no explanation, just that slow, deliberate turn. And then the recording cut out, a full 20 seconds missing from the file. After that, I started sleeping with the chair pressed against the doorknob. I told myself it was for peace of mind, but I think I already knew it wouldn't help, because whatever was trying to get in didn't need the door. Every night, the sound came from somewhere closer, the kitchen, the hallway, the edge of my bed. It never tried to hide, but it never showed itself either. And the scariest part wasn't that I couldn't stop it, it was that, deep down, I started expecting it, like a routine, like something that belonged there. And that's when I realized maybe it wasn't trying to get in, maybe it already had. There are certain moments that never really leave you. They sit quietly in the back of your mind, waiting. You can go years without thinking about them, and then one night, something small brings it all rushing back. A sound, a smell, the way the air feels right before rain. It's strange how memories work like that, especially the ones you wish you could forget. For me, it was the sound of breathing. Not my own, but something else. Something too close, too careful. The kind of sound that feels like it's matching your rhythm just to remind you it's there. I was lying in bed, half awake, that hazy space between dream and consciousness. At first, I thought it was just the old house groaning in the cold. But then I realized the sound moved when I did. I didn't sit up. I didn't move. I just listened. I could feel my heartbeat, pounding through the mattress, every second stretching longer than the last. The breathing was soft, almost calm. It wasn't threatening. That's what made it worse. It sounded human, familiar even, like someone standing over you in the dark, not to hurt you, but to make sure you don't forget they're there. You don't really understand fear until it gets personal. Not the kind that jumps out at you, the kind that looks you in the eye and stays, the kind that whispers instead of screams. That night, it felt less like something trying to scare me, and more like something trying to be close. When I finally turned on the light, the room was empty. Of course it was. But the moment I did, the air shifted. Colder, heavier, like whatever had been there had just slipped away a second too late. I sat there for a long time, staring at nothing, wondering if I'd imagined the whole thing. Maybe I had. But deep down, I knew the difference between my thoughts and what I felt in that room. It's hard to explain how loneliness can play tricks on you. How sometimes you start to mistake fear for company. The quiet becomes a voice. The shadows start to feel like someone waiting to listen. I think that's what scared me the most, how a part of me wanted to believe something was there. Because at least then, I wasn't alone. I didn't tell anyone. How could I? You sound insane trying to explain something that has no proof, no logic. You just live with it. The silence, the small noises that follow you, the way the air shifts when you walk into certain rooms. You start pretending it's all in your head because that's easier than accepting that maybe it's not, but every now and then, when the house is quiet and I let my guard down, I can still feel it. That faint breath at the edge of the dark. The reminder that some things, and some people, never really leave. They just wait for you to remember them. It's strange how easily you can convince yourself that everything's fine. You close the doors, you check the locks, you tell yours. It's over. That whatever you heard, whatever you saw, it's done. But deep down, you know it isn't. The mind can lie to itself, but the body remembers. The tension in your chest, the way your hands shake when the house goes quiet again, that's what never leaves. The nights feel longer now. The kind of long where the hours don't make sense anymore. You start to notice how dark the dark really is. How it eats everything around it, how it watches. You start catching your reflection in windows and seeing something that shouldn't be there. A shadow a little too close, an outline that lingers half a second longer than it should. You blink, it's gone. But the feeling stays. Always, you tell yourself you'll move. Maybe a new place, new start, fresh air. But when you pack your things, when you unplug that last lamp, you realize something unsettling. The feeling doesn't stay behind, it follows. Because it was never the house, it was you. Whatever was watching, it wasn't trapped in the walls. It was waiting for you to leave so it could come to. There's this moment that happens sometimes, right before you fall asleep. That drifting space between being awake and being gone. It's quiet, safe, soft, until it isn't. Until that familiar awareness creeps in again, reminding you that the dark isn't empty, that it's never been empty. You feel it then, just out of reach, almost touching you. Not to harm you, just to remind you, you try to ignore it. You close your eyes tighter, but you know it's there. Because now, it's patient. It doesn't need to make noise anymore. It doesn't need to move things around. It just needs you to remember, and you do, every night. Every time the silence stretches too long, every time the shadows in the corner of the room look too solid, you remember the first sound, the first breath, the first time you felt watched. You remember how it started small and how it never really stopped. The human mind likes to believe in endings, that if you survive something, it's over. But the truth is, not everything wants to end. Some things just change shape. Some fears evolve into something quieter, something you carry with you, even when you don't talk about it anymore. So when you hear that faint creak tonight, when something shifts in the corner and you tell yourself it's just the wind, don't worry. You're probably right. But if you listen closely, really closely, you might notice that the sound isn't coming from the walls. It's coming from right behind you. And by the time you turn around, you'll realize it's been there all along. What makes these stories disturbing isn't just what happened. It's that every single one could happen to you. Right now, in your own home, your own street, your own quiet hour of the night, we tell ourselves that fear belongs to fiction. But the truth? Fear belongs to reality. pause, then closing line. So tonight, before you go to bed, listen closely because sometimes the scariest sounds are the ones meant only for you. Fade out with soft ambient sound.